Hello everyone, and the Oklahoma accent challenge continued. This is the Grapes of Wrath, page 56 of the original book. Joe stopped at the step. 12 by 12 timber. Door steps here, he said, but they're gone, or Ma is dead. He pointed to the low gate across the front door. If Ma was anywheres about, the gate was shut and hooked. That's one thing she always done, seeing the gate was shut. His eyes were warm, ever since the big guy anointed Jacobs and had the baby. Millie Jacobs was just out in the barn. She come in while the pig was still eating it. Well, Millie Jacobs was in the family way and she went raving. Never did get over it. Touched ever since. But Ma took a lesson from it. She never left that pig gate open unless she was in the house herself. Never did forget. Now they're gone or dead. Climbed to the split porch and looked into the kitchen. The windows are broken out and throwing rocks lay on the floor, and the floor and walls sagged steeply away from the door. And sifted dust was on the boards. Joe pointed to the broken glass and the rocks. Kids, he said, they'll go 20 miles to bust the window. I done it myself. They know when the house is empty. They know. That's the first thing kids do when folks move out. The kitchen was empty of furniture, stove gone, and a round stovepipe hole in the wall showing light. On the sink shelf lay an old beer opener and a broken fork with its wooden handle gone. Joe slipped cautiously into the room, and the floor groaned under his weight. An old copy of the Philadelphia Ledger was on the floor against the wall, its pages yellow and curling. Joe looked into the bedroom. No bed, no chairs, nothing. On the wall, a picture of an Indian girl in collar, labeled Red Wing. A bat sled leaning against the wall, and in one corner, a woman's high-bun shoe curled up at the toe and broken over the instep. Joe picked it up and looked at it. I remember this, he said. This was Ma's. It's all wore out now. Ma liked them shoes. Had them for years. No, they went and took everything. The sun had lowered until it came through the ankle and the windows now, and it flashed down the edges of the broken glass. Joe turned at last, went out and crossed the porch. He sat down on the edge of it and rested his bare feet on the 12 by 12 step. The evening light was on the fields, and the cotton plants threw long shadows on the ground, and the mullein willow tree threw a long shadow. Casey sat down beside Joe. They never rode you nothing, he asked. No. Like I said, there wasn't people to ride. Pa could ride, but he wouldn't. Didn't like to. Give him the shivers to ride. He could work out a catalog order as good as the next fella, but he wouldn't ride no lares just for ducks. They sat side by side, staring off into the distance. Joe lay his roll coat on the porch beside him. His independent hands rolled a cigarette, smooth and light, and he inhaled deeply and blew the smoke out through his nose. Something is wrong, he said. I can't put my finger on her. I got an itch that something was wrong or hell. Just this house pushed around and my folks gone. Casey said, right over there the ditch was. We're down to baptizing. You wasn't mean, but you was tough. Hung onto the little girl's pigtail like a bulldog. We baptized you both in the name of the Holy Ghost, and still you hung on. Old Tom says, hold him underwater, so I showed your head down till it started bawling before you'd let go of that pigtail. You wasn't mean, but you was tough. Sometimes a tough kid grows up with a big jolt of the spirit in him. That's it for today, folks. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.